This episode sponsored by Lake Monster Details, producing the Don's Light and Magic Legacy line of parts, offering upgrade parts and decals for accuracy, special effects, and lighting. Visit www.lakemonsterdetails.com and make it glow. Also sponsored by GCals, producing aftermarket replacement decals and custom quality graphics for your favorite spaceships. Visit www.gcals.company.site and add some personalization to your sci-fi models today. Also sponsored by Mask Design, boldly going where no masking kit has gone before. Take your model to the next level of detail and accuracy with a masking kit from Mask Design. Visit Mask Design on Facebook or click the ordering link in the notes below the video.
Dispatch War Rocket Ajax to bring me back his body.
What's up, fellow modelers? Will here. Welcome to the Answers Share. This episode, we're going to start painting the War Rocket Ajax, just to give you an idea where we're going to be at. This is where I've gotten to at this point. I'm going to show you how I did all this, and there's going to be a couple boring spots in it. I'm going to be pulling some masking off, and if I can speed it up a little bit, I will. But there's going to be some down spots, some really slow periods where I'm pulling masking off and talking about a couple things, but making really good progress. We are now 28 days out as of filming this, 28 days out from Wonderfest. So got to get this done, and so far I'm making good progress. I got a couple things I'm going to have to go back and fix, but so far everything's going good, and I should have plenty of time to get that worked out. So give me a minute. I'll put you on the bench. We'll get to work. Alright, so here's a look at trying to recreate the pattern on that back section. And you can see what I've done on this side here. And basically I've got a set of masks that I made. You can't really see them too well on here. I usually prefer to use either black or like gold or yellow, but black obviously wouldn't work too well for trying to line things up on a black painted surface, and I'm out of gold or yellow, so have to go with blue, although it's not my favorite, but it'll work. So basically what I did was I looked at pictures of the studio model in the film, screenshots, and saw how the pattern was laid out. And basically I didn't really measure these out. I just spaced them out to what looked right. If you look at the studio model, these don't all exactly look the same anyway. This one back here definitely looks narrower than the rest of these, so it's not perfect on the studio model either, but I think it looks pretty good. I think it lined up pretty good doing it by eye. And all I'll do is recreate the same thing on this side. And I've got my my gloss black down. I've allowed it to dry for several days, and should be ready to go now. I'm doing this each side because it's just easier to do this part that way, but once we get to the front section here, I'm going to have to do all that because it's going to be a complete overlap Gonna have to do that all in one shot, but this is easy to kind of section off and do it, and kind of get used to, you know, how long it takes you to do it, because you don't want to put the masks on and leave them on longer than you have to. So I've got these. I got a little bit of a nick right there, but that's all right because that's getting painted red, so that'll be okay. But so I've got my mask set here, and basically the first thing I do is I've got these lines on here, and I use my Cricut to cut these out. So basically I will pull off, and these are different lengths on here depending on what I'm doing. Now the top part, the line is shorter than the bottom line for the bottom edge of this. So take the shorter part first, and we don't want it all the way to the top. We want to leave a little bit. There's a little bit of gold there before you get to the fin. So I've got here I need to get off of this. So one thing I hate about having this on a towel is that sometimes it grabs little fibers off of there, and you got to be careful about it. So I'll take this piece here and just lay it out. As best I can. Actually, I think I need to come up just a little bit on this. I got a little bit of gold on this side, and it's throwing off how it looks to me when I line it up. I'll get this lined up and straight as possible. It looks pretty good there. This is a little bit of an angle. So just be careful when you pull this up again that you don't nick it with your knife. There we go. This back part here just wants to kind of nosedive down on me a little bit. There we go. So we got that in place, and there is supposed to be a gap back here because we're going to run. There's a little bit of gold here, and also a little bit well, actually I just ran black all there because you don't really get a good view of this from the still shot that I took, or the screen capture. So got that part on there, and now we'll take one of the longer lines, peel that off. And it's not a bad idea either to kind of remove some of the tackiness from these. Just run your finger over it a couple times. It doesn't have to be extremely tacky in order to work. All right, and then this one's going to go all the way at the bottom. And I found the best way to do this is just to take a, without scratching it up, is to take a Q-tip and just use the Q-tip to kind of push it in there where you need it. And there we go. That one went in pretty easy. Now to get that nice and smooth against there without scratching up the gloss black. Alright, so now I've got that in place. Next thing I got is we got, this kind of gets blocked off. So we get a line on the front all the way to the edge on the front here, but we leave a little bit of a gap on the back end here. And I've got these shorter lines. So this is just going to go in here, and this may have to be trimmed a little bit. Yeah, got to trim it just a touch. Let's see how that looks. There we go. And that one goes all the way to the front edge. And that's going to leave just a little black line on the forward part here. And then we get another line on the back here and try our best to have it curve just a little bit. But if you don't get a curve in it, that's all right. It's not going to be too noticeable. All right, so that's what we've got so far, the outline of it. And then what we're going to do is take these little square boxes and match these up with the black on the other side. So we want one right about, I'll try to line this up as best I can without getting my head in the camera. Actually, it might be better to do this from the bottom and work our way up. Just line that up as best we can. I'll come over that with a Q-tip again once I get all these in place. Take a little bit of the tack off. Really don't need these to be difficult to get off once we get done painting. And like I said, you don't need a whole lot of tack on these. Actually, let me get my tweezers here. It'll be a little easier to control this. Got that one. Probably could stand to make these just a little bit shorter. Right, that one there. There we go. So we got all those in place. I'm just going to take my Q-tip, rub everything down, make sure it's good and in place. All right, that's pretty much it. All these are in place now. I may need to reposition this one a little bit. But you get the idea. So those are all in place, and that's how I'm masking it off. Now, in addition to this, there's one thing I have to, one other thing I have to take into consideration, because I'm using craft paints for my red. Now, the craft paint will go over the acrylic, the enamel, I should say. I don't know if it's acrylic, but it's definitely an enamel, gloss black paint. It will go over that fine as long as the gloss black is dried. So you want to make sure that's good and dried. But I don't think it likes to work very well with the gold all-clad. So what I'm doing is, when I have to paint the red, I'll paint the red last, at least in this step. I don't know if I'll have to change it or not a little further on in some of the other areas. But what I like to do is protect these black areas, because I know that the craft paint won't have any problem going on this. I just don't want to create any issues with the gold. So what I'm going to do is, I'll take a piece of masking tape, which I don't have my masking tape with me, but I'll mask this off. I'll come back and show you what it looks like before I go to paint it. So give me just a minute and we'll come back and take a look. All right, so you can see here how I've got that that open area that I'm going to be painting red and masked over for now. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put that pale gold, that all-clad pale gold on this side, and let that dry, and then we can come back and pull this mask off the gold, and then paint the red. So right now I'm going to go paint that gold on, let it dry, and we'll come back and take a look, and I'll show you how I'm going to pull this mask off. All right, so we got the gold on, and just one suggestion, make sure you get a good seal along here. I didn't quite get a good seal, and I got just a little bit of overspray that got under my tape on this side, mainly right here. But so I'm going to do a little bit of touch up on that side, which sucks. So just make sure you mask that off, that other side off, once you get this, you're ready to start working on this side and get a good seal on it. Do a better job than I did. But that'll take a little touch up. That's no big deal. It's not going to be a whole lot of work to do that. But now I'm going to pull off this masking tape so that we can get to the areas that we want to paint red. Make sure we want to push these back down, make sure these are good and seated. All right, so now we've got this side unveiled, and it looks odd because you see black here and red on that side. It's because we haven't painted this yet. We're going to paint this red next, and I'm going to do a better job getting a seal on this than I did putting the gold on next time. So I'm going to let this sit a little bit longer and dry because it hasn't been sitting quite that long. I don't want to put tape on it right away and then pull the tape off and peel off gold. So I'm going to give that a little bit to set up, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my red. But let me show you real quick. So for the main accents, I'm using this, not the red alert, that's for the inside. I'm using True Red. Hang on, let me grab it. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So I am using the craft acrylic. This Anita's True Red is what it's called. And basically what I do is I put some in a cup, and I use, I don't know what the real ratio would be to it, but it's like a 70-30 maybe, or a 60-40 mix between this and the windshield wash fluid that I use. I use the Invisible Glass windshield washer, glass cleaner, I'm sorry, windshield washer fluid. Glass cleaner for this, and it's just always worked well for me. I know other people have different things that they use to mix craft paints with, but it's always worked well for me, and I've tried some other things and they didn't work quite as well, so I've always gone back to this. But I'll get this mixed up, and then I will spray, and it's going to take several coats to cover this black with this craft paint. So I'll get that sprayed on and get it the red a good color, and then let that dry, and then we'll be ready to pull the masks off. So I'll come back, we'll have the red on already because there's not really a whole lot for me to show you on that. But we'll get that painted red, and when we come back we'll be ready to pull these masks off. So just give me a little bit. Alright, so we got this done. We've got that red painted on, and now we're ready to just start pulling the mask off. I did touch up this other side, but now you can see now I got a little bit of a black overspray, or underrun actually. It came under my mask, so I'll have to touch that up when I go to spray gold next time. But yeah, just a little back and forth. Fix one thing and then something else has to be fixed, just like the issues I've had with the lights on the one wing. Let's see if we can get this pulled off. That. And we'll pull this little piece off here, and hopefully that's going to help us pull some of these bigger ones off. Alright, got that off, just got to get this top one off. Alright, here we go. So we've got that one painted. So now we've got both sides of this painted. Oh, I got one more mask still right here, this little piece. There we go. Now the great thing about, let me grab a Q-tip. Great thing about this craft paint is if you get a little bit of an overspray, you can just put a little bit of water on a Q-tip. I got a little bit right here. And that stuff will clean up just a Q-tip and some water, but it won't take the rest of this paint off. So you can clean up the red as much as you need to and not have to worry about removing any of the other paint, because this other stuff is not does not react with just water taking it off. So that works out great. So that actually didn't have too much overspray on this side. This side actually came out pretty clean. So there is both sides of that done. And now time to move on to the front, which is going to be a little more of a challenge because it's all got to be done at one time. At least certain sections of it. But I've got to do both sides at one time. Now I've got a piece of paper stuck right here. Oh well. There we go. So I'm going to work on, I still got to work out the masks for this front part yet and figure out how they're going to go on. So give me a little bit to work on that and we'll come back and take a look. Alright, so I didn't quite get this step by step like I should have. But basically to do this pattern in the middle, you've got kind of a box of gold inside of an outline box of red. And what I did was I used those, I've got these 1mm strips that I put on here, and basically cut them to size for what I needed to make each box, and put the pattern in place. And then what I did was I masked off this center part and painted that gold first, and then I put mask over that, which you see is what I'm removing now, so that I could paint my red. But before I painted the red, I also masked off this section here where it was still black, and then painted red, or painted the gold all over the outside of this, masked off around this, and then painted the red. I know it's a little hard to follow. I should have done a better job of going step by step with this. But hopefully once I show you what this pattern looks like, you'll get a better idea of what I did here. And a little bit of adhesive residue looks like it's sticking on here, probably from where I'm having to heat it up using the blow dryer to kind of dry this paint. So I may have to come back over that and try to get some of that residue off. So the only thing about the masking tape, the vinyl mask doesn't really leave a residue, but this masking tape is leaving just a little bit of a residue on there. Looks like a little bit of my black, so I'm gonna have to touch that up. A little bit of my black peeled up right there. And a little bit of black peeled up right there on that corner too. So I'll have to touch up that spot there, and then there's a spot right here that's going to need to be touched up. Hopefully not too much more that needs to be done. Yeah, definitely getting a little bit of leftover residue. I think I can use, I'm going to have to try to use some mineral spirits. I think that'll get that residue off without removing any of the paint. But let's see if we can get this one here off. Yep, let's try this side here, see if I can get to this. I might have to flip it around to get to that. Ah, some more black came up. So a couple of those spots I'm going to have to touch up. That spot there won't be too hard to touch up since I haven't painted the rest of this yet. I can just go over that. So, but there we go. There is that box shape in the middle that we're supposed to have. Turned out pretty nice. Like I said, I got a couple little spots where my black peeled up a little bit, so I'll have to come in and touch that up. And but other than that, turned out nice. It turned out real good. So this this section here, these windows, where these windows go, those are going to be red. Those frames get all painted red. This one gets painted red. And there's another pattern though that I've got to do in the front here, where it's got actually two smaller squares. There's one small square in the front here and one small square in the back here that I'm going to have to figure out how I want to do. So I got to work up something on that, and then give me a little bit to work on that, and we'll come back, and I'll try to make sure to come back and show you the step before I actually paint it. So give me a little bit to work on that, and we'll take a look. All right, so I've got this section worked out. This section up here will be easy because it's just it's pretty much just all gold. There's no intricate pattern up here, but I've got this all worked out. And what I did was I made some boxes. There's a longer rectangle box on the side here, and then two small squares on top, and then the same thing on this side, long rectangle on this side. And made a box, or masked it off, painted it gold, and now I've got these masks. You can see I've got masks covering the gold to protect it, because the next step is to paint red, and this from here to here all gets painted red. I've got to put a masking tape mask off the bottom edge here and the bottom edge here to protect the top of the saucer, and this will all get painted red, this whole part up in here. And then what will happen is once I get done with this section up here, this will get painted gold, and there's a red band on this last part up here before you get this nose. So I'm gonna go paint the red on this, and we'll come back and see where we're at. All right, well, we got this all painted up with the red, and let's pull these masks off and see where we're at. That's the paint peel I already had before. I still got to fix. So not too worried about that. That little piece of tape. Got a little piece of tape, don't want to come off of there. There we go. All right, let's pull this piece off. Looks about right. Again, got just a little bit of overspray from this, but just remember that this is easy to clean up with a little water and a Q-tip. So now let's pull off these masks, and we'll see how these boxes turned out. getting paint peel. I don't know why that's peeling, because it's set a couple days to allow this, this black gloss coat to dry, so I don't know why it's giving me such a fit. But fortunately it's just small little spots. Hopefully I don't get any big ones to pop up, because then that's going to take a lot more work to fix. I got a little bit of paint peel right there. Yeah, let's try this one here and see how this one did. My thing is, some of the black peeled up, but I haven't had any issues with the gold. Let's see, here's another. Yeah, quite a bit of touch up to do with this black in a couple spots. Of course, I may not have taken enough tack off of the masks either, so probably could have taken a little more tack off of them. Yeah, this one came off just fine. Not sure why the ones on top are... Seems like all the paint peel issues I've had have been on the top here. The sides peeled off, came off just fine. But the top is, for some reason, getting paint peel real bad on top. It might be that I got something on the top that I didn't get off before I put the black on, and it's just peeling off in those spots, or because it definitely should be cured enough. Because again, on the side, this side here too, it's coming off just fine. So the problem appears to be isolated to the top. All right, there we go. So paint peel issues aside, that's turned out real nice. That looks good. I just got a couple paint peel issues I got to touch up. You can see here and here. Bug. So I'm gonna work on touching those up. All I've got to do is put gold on the front here. This doesn't get any special pattern, and I've just got one red band to paint here. So I'll get that done, and this top part at least will be done, and we can take a look at it when we come back. All right, guys, so I got my paint peel spots touched up. So those are all fixed now, and also got this front part painted the rest of the way gold, and a little bit of red detail on the side there just at the base, and then this ring at the front here is red. And it turned out nice. I'm real happy with it. I like the way it looks. Now I'll let this set up a bit before I put a clear coat on it. I'll give it a day or two to kind of set up, and then I'll come back and put a clear coat over this to protect it, because remember, the craft paints will come off with water, so we don't want to leave that unprotected. So that's got to get a clear coat. And I've tested this out, these paints out with the clear coat I use, which is the matte wheel, and didn't have any adverse effects. So hopefully that carries over to this, but I want to make sure all this is good and dry and cured before I come over it with the clear coat. But what I want to look at starting to work on now is this wing. And there's something we need to look at with this wing, because it's a little bit of a different color scheme going on here. So give me a minute. Let me switch over to the desktop, and I will show you what I'm talking about. All right, guys, so here's what I'm talking about. Looking at this wing, you can see the, well, first of all, you can see that paint scheme and how I copied it. I think it turned out pretty close to what the studio model looks like. Took a little bit of creative liberty in a couple spots because it's kind of hard to tell what some of the colors are in spots, but I can tell this is silver. You can tell this is silver, this is red. But as far as those black lines, but I think it looks really good. But focusing on the wing, so you'll notice here that there's two different colors of red here. This one appears to be more in line with the true red color, well, what I'm using true red for, with the rest of the ship. But this one here, this main one, is a darker red. So I've got a darker red that I'm going to use for this and duplicate this color scheme here. So they got a darker red here for the main one. And then you got a smaller true red right here. So that's what I'm looking to duplicate. So let me switch you back over. And what I'm using here is, so I've been using the true red to do the accents on the outside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this cardinal red, which is a little bit darker of a red. I don't want to open these over the model. I can see that not turning out well. So I don't know how well the camera's going to pick these up, but this red is just a slight shade darker. I think you can see there. Just slightly darker than the true red, which is on the left here. So I think that should work out to get that, that slight two-tone red on there. So what I've got to do now is figure out how I want to mask this wing off. And I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm not going to do both sides of the wing. But I think I'm going to get that red painted on, let that cure up, and then mask it off. And paint the gold on the rest of the wing. So give me a minute. Let me work out a mask, getting this masked off, and I'll come back and we'll take a look at it. All right, so I've got that shape, and you can see it's already there on the wing. All you got to do is mask it off. So I've got it masked off, and I am ready to paint the darker red. The cardinal red is what I'm going to use. So I'm going to paint that, and we will come back and take a look. All right, so we got that red painted on, and now we're going to pull these masks off and see what we got. Definitely a darker red, which is what I was looking for. We're really going to get the contrast once I add on that that little patch of true red that I've been using. I've got to add on to the tip down here, right around in this area. And we're going to add a patch of true red from probably about right here to right here. So right in this area. And that's the way it looks on the studio model. So that's what we're going for. And so far so good. A little bit of underbleed where it got under my tape, but that's okay because we're going to be able to take a Q-tip here, and well, I don't have my cup of water, but I'll be able to take a Q-tip, put a little water on it, and actually I might not even need water. I might be able to just clean this up. This might have enough water on it still. Nope, I need some more water on it. So I'll be able to take this Q-tip and just clean up these 2 or 3 little spots right here where it got under my tape. And that's what I like about the craft paint, because it's so easy to work with. The downside to the craft paint is you've got to protect it. You've got to put a clear coat on it and protect it. Otherwise, it'll just rub right off, or in some cases, it might even just peel off of this, which is why I've got to let this rest for quite a while before I go on and try to mask to do that other section here. But give me a little bit. I'm going to let this sit a bit, and I want to get this side done and be sure make sure that I'm happy with the way it's turning out before I do the other wing. So I'm gonna let this sit a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at getting that other part added, that other true red section added, and then we'll mask this off, and we'll be ready to paint this whole side the gold, the pale gold. So give me a little bit, and we'll come back and take a look. All right, so I've got this masked off for the true red. Paint that on here, and I'm going to let it wrap around the wing just a little bit. You can see here I've got it masked so it wraps just around the back edge. Oops, sorry, right on the back edge of the wing there. And once I get that painted on, we can mask off this red, and then do the rest of the wing in gold and see where we're at. Hopefully we're looking good. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got that true red painted on here, and I'm going to carefully pull these off. I don't really want to pull off the blue vinyl masking, because this looks to me, when I look at the screenshots, it looks to me like the studio model has black outline on these, so I need to leave this black. So hopefully I can pull this off and just pull off the masking tape for now. And then I need to mask over both these colors and paint the gold. And honestly, I don't see much of a color difference between the two of them, at least not with the masking on. Maybe we'll see a difference when I pull this masking off and you get the two paints side by side. I don't know. They both look about the same tone to me. Actually, this one's maybe a little bit brighter, but not by much, it doesn't look like. So I'm not too disappointed with that, though, if it doesn't turn out that way. I got a little paint peel right here. But that's all right, because that's getting painted gold anyway. So that's going to get covered over. Let me pull this tape off the bottom. All right. So this is the two reds are painted. Now what I need to do is let this dry a little bit. This red dry a little bit, and then mask off this red, and paint the whole top side of this with the gold, and probably go ahead and do this whole side. I need to mask off the bottom half rounds here, because I'm not ready to do those yet. Those need a couple little spots of red on the front and aft, the fore and aft of the half rounds on the bottom. So I've got to do those yet. I'm not ready for that yet. So I'll probably mask those off, paint this. If I can get the galley painted, then I can get ready to start putting my inserts in. And hopefully, the way this is shaping up, this should all fall together pretty quickly. At least the main painting, and then I've got to do the weathering, the panel lines and all that. So got a little more work to do, but let me give this a little bit to dry, and we'll come back and mask this off, and we'll paint the gold on. So give me a minute. All right, so I've got this masked off, ready to paint. I've got those lower half domes all masked off, ready to paint. So I'm going to get as much paint on this as I can, and we'll come back and look at the final results. All right, guys, so here we go. I've pulled all the masking off. I've got this side painted up, and it turned out really nice. I've got a spot over here where there's a little bit of run. I might have to come up with a creative way of covering that, because otherwise I'm going to have to sand that back down. We'll see. I'll figure something out for it. But it turned out pretty nice. This turned out good. I had a couple spots, though, where the gold got under my tape. So obviously you can see here real bad, and then a little bit right here and here. But other than that, turned out nice. I think it's looking pretty good. So I can work with that. I can come back, mask this off, and touch that back up with the red, and that'll be fine. So I think that's pretty much it for right now. I'm going to take a little bit of a break for a while, so I'm going to wrap this video up. And as always, just want to say thank you, everybody, for watching. Please, if you got any feedback on this, feel free to leave some in the comments below. Let me know what you think. And if you got any ideas for how to do anything better than how I've done it, please feel free to leave a note. But otherwise, thank you everybody for watching. Please, as always, visit my sponsors, Gus over at GCals, Gary over at Mass Design, and Cass over at Lake Monster Details. As always, the links for their stores are in my notes below. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break for a bit, and then I'm going to come back and do some more work on this. I'm going to get this other wing done before we come back and do another episode. So give me a little bit, get a little progress done on this, maybe do a couple of panel lines on it, and we'll come back and see how she's looking. So until next time, keep modeling.